that we have today, that angel will do exactly the same thing that this criminal ruling class that we have are doing. That's very important for us to understand. And when I speak, I don't just like to just speak to the issue and go through the gospel of lamentation, how bad it is. The government has done that, they haven't done this. Those things are superficial. And they're superficial because most of the times we, the citizens, do not look at the issue of the system. What system do we run? And some of us think, it's like, I wish I brought my computer. An Apple Mac, it's the normal color is silver, yeah? Or gray. So if we think that if we change the color of the computer, we just change the color of the case, that we're going to get a different thing. No, you won't. Because the engine running the system remains the same. And it's very important for citizens to understand these issues, that what we are dealing with in Nigeria, as in all over Africa, is a question of the system. So whether you break off and you become Republic of Oodua, or you break off and you become Republic of Biafra, and we break up and become Republic of Arewa, it will still be the same system. The difference will be that the ruling class will be the thieves from your own particular ethnic group. That's the only difference. That the thieves that will be oppressing you will be those from your own ethnic group. Go. And some people say, I don't mind that. Well, I mind that actually. And I even mind that even more. And I'll tell you why. There are only 2 ethnic groups in Nigeria. Only 2. Not 200, not 500. The oppressors and the oppressed. Important for us as people, as the masses, to have this understanding of the issues that affect us. Now let's go back now to what the issues are. The interesting thing, a lot of times I hear when we're speaking, some of us say, even, especially when we're speaking on the media, especially those of us who are activists or media resource people who speak on radio, they say, oh, for example, in the developed world, this is how they do it, this is how they do it. That's all a load of nonsense. You know why it's nonsense? The so-called developed world is developed for exactly the precise reason that you and I are undeveloped. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And that figure 4 is part of the 2 and the 2. So the 2 plus the 2 that is equals to 4 are all related to each other. America is America because of African slave labor. America is America because of the exploitation of Africa. Europe is Europe because capitalism was built on African slave labor. That is how the world economy developed. That is how the world economy is sustained. This is not just a question of history. It is also a question of politics. And that's why you see that most of our so-called leaders, even the politicians, when they are preparing for elections, they go and pay homage to their master. That is what is happening. And so some of us think that, like I see on some platforms, America, what's the word, approves of so and so, Europe approves of so and so. How won't the masters approve of the houseboys? The houseboys are coming to do their work. But if it was a leader like Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, or maybe somebody like Muammar Gaddafi, or some other rebellious leader that refuses to bow to the West, then they have to go to the grave very early because they have refused to pay homage to the masters. It is very important for you and I to have this understanding of politics. Because if we do not have that deep understanding of politics and the system, we will think that because somebody is wearing a white agbada and the other one is in blue and somebody is in pink, that they are different. They are not different. It is the same system. And so what our agenda needs to be as people, as masses, is how do we destroy the system that continues to keep us in poverty? We're even going to have to be disobedient to be obedient. Let me say, though, that even in politics, everything is stage by stage. So it's not as if we're going to wake up and tomorrow there's going to be revolution. No, there will not be. Because a revolution will never announce itself. It comes like a thief in the night. That's how a revolution comes. Like a thief in the night. Yeah? So let's be clear about that. So yes, we might be moving from stage A to stage B to stage C. But I'm taking the trouble to point this out as opposed to our normal lamentation so that Mekunu is ready for revolution. Talaka is ready for revolution when it comes. Because this ruling class, as it continues, will force the masses into revolution. The only problem now is it needs to be an organized as opposed to a disorganized type of revolution. But in our minds, the revolution must first be in our minds. Because most of us, even as we are sitting here clapping, if you scratch us, deep enough, you still find an ethnic chauvinist even in us. You say, our Yoruba, me Igbo, we are Arewa. All a load of nonsense. The ruling class does not see themselves in this ethnicity. They get married to each other. Some of them even pay the campaign money for each other. And that's why they're able to crisscross across the party. Because they know it's like somebody is sitting on this side of the hall at the beginning of the lecture. If he wants to change his seat, if that side is a bit hot, he just comes over to this side to sit near the air conditioner. Nothing has changed. Now, they have that understanding, but you and I do not have that understanding. And that is the type of understanding we need to have. So how do we move forward? 23 years. The world itself is still run under a colonial economy. When I say colonial economy, in the sense that the so-called underdeveloped parts of the world are the parts of the world that are being exploited in order to fund the developed parts of the world. Look at a country like France. If you take away all the countries in West Africa that France, runs, the French economy will begin to crumble. And even me, who is supposed to be a Pan-Africanist, I didn't realize that France still, till today as we speak, has so many colonies in the Caribbean. Till today, people are still under slavery, colonial slavery from France. I didn't realize that. So I'm saying we have to make ourselves conscious of these things. And the reason why it's important to have a Pan-Africanist, globalist perspective to these problems is because tomorrow, if revolution breaks out in Nigeria and there's change, a lot of people and some of our political contestants are under the illusion that America will support me, Britain will support me. They will send their bombs here so quickly you will not know what hit you. So this is where Pan-Africanism comes in. That we need to know who are the like-minded people that also exist like us, who are the type of people that have the type of thinking we have in Republic of Benin, in Ghana, in Mali, in Togo, in Liberia. We have to begin to of our struggle. Because if we have a very isolated understanding of politics and doing struggle, the ruling class can crush us anytime, any day, because they have the forces of power. Let us not be lost in the illusion of democracy. Even as we go through the process of democracy and ballot system, we must have the issue of system change as the fundamental issue on the agenda, in our mind. The whole world is still run as a colonial economy. So we're dealing with one thing. Just as now I see our young people, I'm Japan. Well, some of us, we Japan almost 30 years ago, when we were running away, more than 30 years ago. Yes, when we were running, from the military, system here, and we're back now, they will go and find out when people begin to treat you, like an animal. You look at yourself, is this me? You find your way back. If you make it out alive, if you go to the Arabian parts of the world, you may not come back alive. You may not come back alive. So the point I'm making is this, that we have to fight with everything we have to reclaim this land. And not just this land, to also extend our struggle to make links with the rest of Africa. So that tomorrow, when we need help, we have people we can reach out to. That we are not only constantly reaching out to Oyinbo, because we will see the reality of global international politics. Because a lot of us get our news from CNN and BBC, and we say these are the civilized parts of the world. No, that is where actually our oppression is institutionalized and effected, and there's a monopoly on it. 23 years of democracy and electoral system. How do we move forward? We're going into elections now. There are no concrete issues on the table yet. Obviously, when the campaign starts, we're going to start. Things are going to start. I think that we're going to have clarity that as a people, let us try and seize this time. On radio, I hear the media people, saying things like, get your PVC, get your PVC. It's not enough to have your PVC. We must be organized, we must be involved in the parties in this country. We must be involved, on the day. We must be involved in organizing for victory. Whichever, side, we find ourselves on, we ourselves must be organized. As we come to speak about people like Gani, there are also like-minded Ghanaians in different parts of the world who fought for their people to have victory. You have Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, first president of Ghana, who from day one tried to build a nation out of Ghana. Unlike what the criminal ruling class in this country did. And let me tell you something. Buhari is not just the problem of this country. The problem of this country started right from 1960. The problem started from 1960. We have never had nationalist leaders who loved the nation, who built the nation. In Ghana, one of the things Nkrumah did, he made sure that as children, when they're going to school, that people would go to school. Children were forced to go to school in other regions of the country. So when you grow up, your best friends from childhood was from a different part of the country. As a child, there is no child in Ghana today. The least educated child in Ghana speaks 2 languages. Least. That's 2 languages apart from English. Speak 2 Ghanaian languages. So in Ghana, you can go and speak to a child in Ewe, and he can reply you in Akan. Or you can speak in another language, and you can, they are multilingual. They build a sense of nationhood. Now that's something we don't have. And we don't have because gets into power tomorrow, maybe she will also degenerate and begin to push an ethnic agenda as opposed to a nationalist agenda. So these are some of the points I want to put on the table in terms of 23 years of democracy and elections, to say to us that it seems to me that if we continue